We're now being joined by Erath. Mr. Erath is the Senior Policy Director for the Center for Arms Control and Non-Proliferation. He's joining us live from Washington, D.C. Thanks very much for joining us on WION, sir.
Thank you for inviting me.
Right. Now, U.S. President Joe Biden, just a short while ago, in his speech, vowed full support for Israel in military aid and also critical assets, clearly not mincing any words there. But he did not urge restraint in Gaza.
No, I didn't hear that he did.
Right. My second question to you is that the first plane carrying U.S. armaments has arrived in Israel. U.S. has pledged military aid for Israel, but given the steady supply of military aid to Ukraine, how much tangible support can U.S. provide to Israel?
There are important things that the U.S. can provide to Israel at this time. One of the main threats to Israeli civilians are the rockets that are being launched from Gaza and potentially from Lebanon or Syria as well. Israel has the Iron Dome missile defense system, which works very well against these things, but it requires the interceptor rockets, which is something that is also produced in the United States and can be resupplied to Israel to help protect the civilians there.
Right, Mr. John. Now, it is being said that this war in Israel, we are in day 5 of the war, that will change the complexion of West Asia. In what ways?
I think that we will have to see exactly what the developments mean. This is clearly a very serious situation. There had been previously talk of establishment of better relations between Israel and some of the Arab countries. That seems to have taken a severe setback at this point. No doubt there are people in many of these countries who did not want to see improved relations with Israel. And some of them are the ones that are backing Hamas at this point. Also, we see a very severe response on the part of Israel to the attacks on its territory. It will be difficult to go back to how things were before once a ceasefire is in place.
Right, just a follow-up to that. Do you see any prospect of a ceasefire? How soon or long can it be expected and why?
I think everyone hopes that the ceasefire would come as soon as possible because in a conflict like this one, it is the civilians who are suffering the most. The Gaza area is densely populated, and so Israeli strikes on it are going to incur some civilian casualties. On the other side, the attacks from Hamas on Israel have been targeted not against the Israeli military, but primarily against the Israeli population and civilians. That's a direct violation of the laws of war and probably a war crime. The sooner this sort of thing gets stopped, the better.
Right, Mr. John, the cost of war is clearly rising on humans and the civilians. Hamas is holding up around 150 hostages, which also includes some Americans. A total of 14 Americans have also been killed in the war, and pressure is building for the U.S. and Israel to help these hostages. But it appears that both the countries have very limited options on the table.
There are always limited options in a hostage situation, particularly when the hostage takers have demonstrated their willingness to kill. I'm not sure what the situation is right now. Only the people who are there on the ground know that is. But we can hope for some successful resolution of this and that some of these people will get out of it alive.
Right, Mr. John. Thanks very much for joining us on WION and sharing your insights on this. We'll, of course, be tracking this very closely.
You're very welcome.